Hello everyone, this is CS Padma Sharma and welcome to Mathurya Edu. We are continuing our revision for our Constitution of India, which is your chapter 2 under paper JIGL under your CS Executive Module 1. Fine. Our today's topic is going to be directive principles of state policy. Understand the name itself says it is a directive principle. It is going to be a direction how we are planning India to be as a country. Right. So the first thing they say that part 4 of your constitution, your fundamental rights were given in your part 3 of your constitution. Now in part 4 of the constitution, we are talking about the directive principles of state policy. That is how a state should frame policies, what should be the topics on which they should be framing policies, and they are your directions given under your constitution. Okay. The part 4 of the constitution under the heading directive principles of state policies, which are discussed as following. First they say how the government should lead the country is what we are trying to say in your part 4 of the constitution. First they said that it is not enforceable in the court. First, before going that what actually are the directive principles, let's understand what is the surroundings regarding the directive principle. If any of the state is not following directive principle, then it is not enforceable in the court. It means I cannot go to court and say that my lords, this particular state is not following what is given in the directive principles. Under fundamental rights, it was mandatory, guaranteed to the citizen and to all the people who are in the land of this particular country. But directive principle says this is only the direction that we are bringing, and this is how the government should be forming and making laws and policies. But if they are not doing it in that way, then you cannot go to courts and tell them that please advise them and direct them to follow this. No, they are not enforceable in the court of law. Second, it is implemented by the legislation, of course, because legislative is your law making body. You have three structure, which is your legislative, then your executive, then your judiciary, right? This is your law making body, this is your law executing body, and this is your courts, which takes care that everything is working fine or not. So if legislation makes laws and then you're going to judiciary, fine. Here they are saying if the legislation has not made any law, then the judge cannot pass anything. But yes, judges and the judiciary can advise the government to make on any law for specific thing. For example, sexual harassment of women at workplace, we had no laws regarding this, but when the case came in the light, then the judiciary advised and directed the government to make a particular law on this thing, because earlier we did not have women working in the office and all. It was more of a reserved country we were to let women go out and work, right? So in that case we had a case before, and then the judiciary directed the legislative to make law. In terms of your directive principles, one, it is not enforceable in the courts. Second, it should be implemented by the legislative. Third, it do not confer upon or take away any legislative power from the appropriate legislature. We are not taking away any power. The power is with the government, it is with the legislature to make law. Then the court cannot declare any law as void on the ground that it contravenes any of the directive principles. Now I will explain it better when we have one specific point here later in this particular thing. Okay, courts are not competent to compel the government. You cannot compel the government to make any specific law regarding something. It is for the government to feel the need and urge to make this particular law at this given point in time. That is when they make law. It is a duty of the state to implement the directive principle. It can do so only subject to the limitation imposed by the different provisions or constitution. Only when the constitution allowed, they will be in a position to continue and go ahead and make law on it. Fine. The court ruled that while the fundamental rights were enforceable, understand here, fundamental rights are enforceable. That is, you have to follow fundamental rights, right? The directive principles were not, and so the law made to implement directive principles could not take away the fundamental right. Very important. If you are making any law which is not following directive principle, you cannot go to courts. But if you are bringing any law which is violating your fundamental rights itself, then you can go and file a complaint with the judiciary. Important directive principles. Understand, the state has to secure. The state. In which article did we mention the definition of state? Fine. It was article 12 where we read who is going to be considered as state. The parliament, the state legislature, then we had all the local authorities like your municipal authorities and others, but we also had one of the case which is Ajay Hasia versus Khalid Mujib, where they have extended the definition of your state itself, right? So now the state has to secure social order, very important. You cannot let people do whatever they want to do. You have to lead a country in a social order, fine. Promote the welfare of the people, because we are a socialist country. If you remember preamble, we are a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic and republic. So we are a socialist country which is working for the people. So we have to maintain the we have to make sure that we are making our policies towards the welfare of the people. Strive to minimize the inequalities. Here again comes your article 14, where we were talking about equalities, right? Certain principle or policy followed by state, the particularly has to make policy that the citizen, men and women, are treated equally. That is when now we are so much fighting for gender equality, to bring laws about all these things, fine. Next thing, the ownership and control of material resources of the community are so distributed as the best to subvert the common good. Whatever you are having, you have to give it to the community in an equal way, or whoever needs it more, accordingly you have to distribute it to them. Operation of economic system does not result in concentration of wealth and means of production of the common detriment. Equal pay for equal work for both men and women. We have this under our labor laws. Then health and strength of workers and children is not abused, and citizens are not forced to the economic necessity. Now this we saw that if you are under the at the age from 6 to 14, then you cannot be allowed to work in factories and mines, right? So you have to make laws regarding this, so that no other factory or company is actually employing anyone who is of this certain age. Fine. The childhood and youth are protected against exploitation and against moral and material abandonment. This was in your article 39. Fine. The state has to make legal system to promote justice on the basis of equal opportunity, and particular provide free legal aid. So if you are sometimes going on filing a case, and if you cannot pay the legal fee, then the government will appoint a lawyer for you on behalf of you. They will appoint a lawyer, because with free legal aid, this is what we are trying to, because we don't want anyone to go and suffer in jail. It is a quote in Hindi which says that 100 गुनेगार छूट जाए लेकिन एक बेगुनाह को सजा नहीं मिलनी चाहिए. It means 100 criminals can go, but one innocent person should not be punished, right? So in that way, we are saying that legal aid should be given to everybody. Next, village panchayats to enable the units in terms of they take care of that particular area, that particular village. Not everybody can come and approach the court, so you can have village panchayats. That's what we are saying here. Next, we say securing the right to work, to education, to public assistance in case of unemployment, old age, etc. We have retirement benefits, we have post office benefits, and a lot of other things. When you are working, we have it as a retirement benefits. Then right to work, right to education, and right to education was under your article 21A, right? So all these things are your directive principles we are giving the state, that keep all these things in your mind when you're making law. Right? Just an human condition to work and for maternity relief. Imagine this was the condition where we said we need to bring maternity relief. Now we are fighting for paternity relief, that even the father should get leave so that he takes care and spends time with the child. But yes, maternity relief itself, we had to go and fight and get this opportunity for female who were in their pregnancy. Then we have secure live wage and good standard of life for all types of worker, and most endeavor to promote cottage industry and individual and cooperate among them. Then we have suitable legislation or any other way to secure the participation of worker in the management of undertaking, establishing other organization engaged in the industry. You have all the right to make any law for any particular industry to regulate them, right? Uniform civil code. Now when I'm saying uniform civil code, do we have that in implementation? If you ask me, do we have that in implementation? No. Right. Now, because we can we go to the court and say that, my lords, we do not have uniform civil code, and you have given this as a directive principles under your constitution itself, so I am coming and filing a case. No, because directive principles, earlier we have seen, it is not enforceable. It is not enforceable in the court. It is not enforceable in the courts. So even today we have this as a part of our constitution, that you have to make laws regarding these things, but we don't have it in implementation. Even if it is not there, you cannot go and file a complaint in the courts and judiciary. Right? Free and compulsory education for all children below the age of 14. We have already seen that. Promote education and economic interest of scheduled caste and scheduled tribes and other weaker sections. Raise the level of nutrition and standard of living, and to improve public health, and it must endeavor to bring about prohibition of the consumption except in medical purpose, intoxicating drinks, drugs and other injurious things. So free from drugs. These are few types of things, few types of laws that you should be bringing for your better nutrition. For public health, we have a lot of safe sanitation facility, clean toilet facilities. These are few things that you have to make sure as a state that you are providing basic things for the citizen of this country. Organize agriculture and animal husbandry. We want you to organize all these things, because we are one of the big producers of milk, so you have to make sure that you are giving agriculture and animal husbandry, especially for cows and calves. Fine. Improve the environment. We have a lot of environment laws these days, and because it is given that you have to protect the environment, protect the glaciers, we are coming here and we are saying that you have to make laws regarding this. You have certain pollution percentage as well. Now these days, even if you're going and buying bikes, you have certain level of pollution that bike will be creating. So you have to make sure that you are making all laws regarding like 360-degree angle. Then protection of monuments and places and object of national importance, obligatory upon the state. Like for example, we had Jallianwala Bagh, which is a part of your national importance. That was one of the biggest event, one of the biggest fight for our independence from Britishers. So these kind of monuments, you have to protect them, you have to preserve them, you have to clean and neatly keep them. Fine. Separate executive and judiciary. Your executive, which is your law implementation body, and your judiciary, which is going to take care that whatever is happening is right or wrong. You have to keep them separately. Do not mix both of them. Fine. And then you have promote peace and security, maintain just and honorable relationship in respect of international laws. Fine. This is your directive principle of state policy. First, you have to remember that these are the directions given to the government, directive principles of state policy, the kind of policy a state should make. So these are the directions given to you. Fine. First thing, it has to be implemented by the legislative only. Second, the most important, it is not enforceable in the court of law. It is not enforceable in the court of law. And then there are few things that they have given as a state should keep all these things in their mind and make law regarding this thing. Fine. Now you can remember any of your 10 points in all these points given. So if you get question even for 3 marks or for 8 marks, you will be very well in the position to answer all this. Now the thing is, we have covered all this in your fundamental rights itself. So if you remember that very well, you can come ahead and write this answer as well. Right? In the next video, I will be covering your fundamental duties of the citizen in a quick video. Thank you so much.